Our next talk is entitled All the Clouds, given by Travis Nelson. You may remember him from earlier in this meetup. Travis is an experienced software architect and a co-owner of Moonsault Software.
You guys hear me all right? All right. All the clouds. All right. Hide this. Colin hates proto buff right now because he just had some major problems with it recently. Right? He figured it out. So all the clouds, so I've been living in the AWS world for a while. Pet projects, I do Heroku because it's really easy. And then my exposure to other cloud environments, Google Cloud Platform, Azure, OpenShift by Red Hat. I've played around with them, but I haven't done too much. And so I'm kind of curious what the state of it was currently and continuous delivery in those environments, because it's really neat when you can just check something into GitHub and you can see it reflected on your site instantly. So I kind of wanted to do an experiment and using microservices, just kind of, take that to the next level of making the most complex app in the world that does nothing. So it's this dashboard that has 6 different microservices on the back end that just display a color. So the gray color in the background is coming from that microservice with that language. So we got Cloud Foundry with Java, OpenShift with Ruby, serverless JavaScript on AWS Lambda, Python on GCP, Clojure on Heroku, and C# on Azure. So it was just one of those things where I wanted to experiment and make a really simple app. And so by doing this, I can show you that we kind of have this dashboard over on the left that is constantly pulling all these endpoints. So I have this app is in React with an Express node backend that just acts as a proxy to all these microservices. So all I'm returning is a payload of JSON that says the color needs to be light gray. So OpenShift, same thing, serverless JavaScript. And so what I'm going to do is I got this project, All the Clouds. You can download it if you want and see my crappy front end work. But you can go look at all these microservices on the back end. And what we'll do is open up each one of them. We will change code in GitHub. And then we will watch it be reflected on the site. So first one we're going to look at is JavaScript serverless. This is using the serverless framework with AWS Lambda. It's being deployed by Circle CI because there's not a direct integration by hooking a GitHub repo up to it. So you can find the Circle CI deployment here if you'd like, but we can look at what that endpoint delivers directly, light gray color. But we can go into the handler.js and make the changes. And I'm not going to commit any of these. I'll do them all at the end so we can watch them real time. But we'll just do pink. And we'll go down here, and I'll get all those queued up ready to commit to master. So this one is Heroku with Clojure. So we go to the web CLJ file, where I'm just returning JSON payload in the body. We'll do pink. And then we'll go over to OpenShift, which is Red Hat's container management system. This is Ruby. So a lot of these are just kind of hacked together because like I didn't want to do tests and everything around getting all these working. So please bear with me on these projects if you actually go look at them. So this is GCP with Python. And we will change that to pink. Azure with C# in the .NET framework. This one was the biggest hack in the world. Is anybody a C# person here? Man, it's been years since I played around with this, so can't even find it. It's right there. And then Cloud Foundry with Java. This is actually using Spring Boot as the framework, and Spring Boot and Cloud Foundry actually had to use Circle CI for deployment as well. So both the AWS deployment and Cloud Foundry deployments are done through the CLIs. And so you can install those in the Circle CI container that is building your project and then deploy through that with your keys secured in the environment variables. All right, so I've got everything ready to go. And what we'll do is we'll go just can see that all right. It's constantly polling every second. So I'll start checking all those in. Does anybody have an idea which one's going to be first? Anyone? Well, I guess I need to. Which one's going to be the slowest? Ooh. Lambda is actually one of the quickest. The OpenShift one is the slowest, I think, because it's building a container. They're all traditional except for the JavaScript one. So that one's JavaScript Lambda, which actually shows up first. And that's using Circle CI to deploy. This one shows up red because it went down because we're not doing a rolling deploy on Cloud Foundry. It's the free tier. They're all on the free tier. Heroku, the cold start on it is a little slow, but it actually, once it's warm, it deploys pretty quick. OpenShift actually shocked me. It was a little quicker than usual. Cloud Foundry is a little on the slower end. GCP is usually pretty quick, and Azure is like a little slower. Come on, Cloud Foundry. Any Cloud Foundry people in here? My opinion is I know the AWS stuff well. So that one's like, I know it can be complex, but I know it, so I'm kind of indifferent on that one. Heroku is by far the easiest. Most complex ones were probably OpenShift, Cloud Foundry, and Azure, just because like the platforms are pretty complex. I think they're very enterprisey in nature, and so like they can do everything through those consoles. Whereas like Heroku really pares down to what you need. GCP was kind of the same way, and yeah, I can't really have an opinion about AWS. But yeah, so they all changed on the fly, continuous delivery, with 0 tests. But you know, any questions?
So you use serverless for some of this? I haven't played with it, but I thought that you could actually deploy it pretty much a majority
Yeah, when you have your local development environment already configured to point to them, so serverless framework does let you deploy very easily to them.
So that you can write once and really say, okay, I want to deploy to Amazon today and tomorrow
It,
to Azure or Google.
so the serverless framework is more designed for the AWS features as the front runner, and then the other ones are coming on board. And then the deployment you have to do through your own deployment environment. So CircleCI is one of my favorites. So you could easily deploy to any one of the clouds through that. But Cloud Foundry and AWS, I had to use CircleCI. The other four allow you to plug right into a Git repo. OpenShift, you have to actually get the webhook, but the other three you can just do natively. Any other questions?
I have a question. Why do you like CircleCI more than Travis CI?
I know, like I don't know.
Okay.
Anything else? Oh, cool. Thanks.